Hi everyone, it's your girl Kunda. I'm your host for the Progress Driven channel and welcome to this week's show, the show where we push for personal progress and prosperity. And nobody can hear you go. Hi everyone, again. So this week I'm going to talk about the importance of knowing your neighbors. I think and I believe that we have to start becoming friendly and knowing our neighbors. And this is in light of what happened to the ladies here in Lusaka. So a few months ago, a girl went missing, Pamela, and it made news. And for months she's been missing and the police have been searching for her and they couldn't find her. But recently, one of the girls managed to escape, and when the neighbors now jumped into the fence of that house where the girls were abducted, were being kept, they went and found there were actually other 13 girls. So the funny part for me, what hit home was the fact that these people that were abducted weren't taken to an isolated place. They were taken to a house that had neighbors, not neighbors like, one of those big yards like Lilai places, that those places in Lilai where even if you screamed, your neighbor won't hear because the neighbor is like miles away from you. But these people were living in a house, in a neighborhood where if you screamed for help, your neighbors would actually hear. God, it's just a crazy story. But the neighbors had no idea what was happening in that household. And that got me thinking, like, how could you be in such a space and your neighbors have no idea what's happening? And it made me feel sad, but I can also relate to that. And because of that, I want to encourage everyone to take an interest in your neighbors. Know who your neighbors are. Know, if you can know what they do, know what they do. Yeah, know what they do. Have an idea of, observe what happens in your neighborhood so that when something out of the ordinary happens, you can pick it up. And I think that is your responsibility as your person. Not because you're being nosy, but because you have to take care of your safety. Imagine having a neighbor as a murderer. Imagine having a neighbor as a kidnapper. And you have kids. Sometimes people have kids who are 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. They get out of the house, they move. Oh, I'm going to Pakasido to get something. Now, if you don't know the community that you live in, if you don't know who the people in your community are, the kind of people who are in your community, you're risking yourself and you're risking the safety of your family. And that's why when people are moving into neighborhoods, they take an interest. Okay, what sort of neighborhood am I in? What sort of people live in this neighborhood? What am I to expect? Do we have a lot of thieves coming into these neighborhoods? What sort of people live around me? Those are things that you should know. When I relocated and moved to Lusaka, let me tell you something. I stayed for a year plus without knowing who my neighbors are. And that's because when I moved where I live is flats. So when I moved into the neighborhood, people didn't come to welcome me. People didn't come to say hi. And I didn't, when you're the new person on the block, you just can't get up and say, oh, hi, how are you? My name is, like, girl, slow your roll. It's just awkward. So for me, it's always the person, when a new person comes, the people around show you how we relate. How do we live here? How do things happen? So I just assumed that, okay, maybe that's how they live here. Let me keep to myself. And I kept to myself for over a year. And I remember, and that wasn't a good thing. So I didn't know my neighbors, and I would think to myself, what if my husband got sick? By then I wasn't even driving. Okay, I could drive, but I was scared of driving. What if something happened and I needed to go to the hospital? What if I needed help? Who do I run to? I can't go knock on my neighbors' doors because I don't know them. What if thieves came and were attacked at night? I was just thinking of all those scenarios, and I'm just like, I don't have help. I don't have anyone I can go to and ask for help. And I remember when we had COVID-19, when we got sick. Oh, by then actually, we had a new person who had moved into our neighborhood, or a new person on the block. When that person came, I just told myself, I will show this person the ropes. I know I don't really get along with other people because I don't know other people here. But when she came, I went and said hi. I was like, you're welcome. We're glad to have you here. My name is blah, blah, blah. And we introduced to each other. We went our separate ways. And eventually we just would see each other and say hi, see each other, say hi, see each other, say hi. And eventually now we actually will talk, and me and her are friends. So, but you don't always have to become friends with your neighbors if you don't want to. So with time, I've ended up becoming friendly and knowing my other neighbors. And I'll say hi to them, I see them, like we're not friends, but I know them. I have an idea of what they do. I have an idea how many people who they live with. So if I saw anything out of the ordinary, I would easily pick it up, like, okay, this person, I now know the faces of the people who live in my compound. And if I saw anyone who was otherwise, I would be like, okay, I've never seen this face before, and I'm curious to see where they're going or what they're doing. And that's very important. So I think it's very important that you get to know who your neighbors are. And I remember when we had COVID, my friend, my neighbor who was now like my friend, she, like, first we were sick and everyone in the house was sick. So we didn't have, we couldn't go out to do our shopping, we couldn't do stuff. And one time I needed medication. I couldn't go out and get medication, but I really needed medication. And I asked her, I was like, okay, on your way back from work, may you please just get me something? I need this and this. And she brought it for me. And I kept thinking, what if I didn't know who would I ask to get me vegetables, who would I ask to get me fruits, or who would I ask to get me medication? And I remember one time when we were feeling a bit better and I was going for a walk, I saw one of my neighbors on the other side, like one of the flats across me, but I didn't know her, like I've never really known her, but she looked sick and she drove herself in, and even the way she was driving wasn't, like, you could tell the person isn't okay. And she sat in the car for a long time. And I was like, something is wrong, but I can't come to you because I don't know you like that. So I went and knocked on the landlord's house. I'm like, I think she needs help. Like, go check her out. And so the landlord is the person who went to handle the situation. And that's how bad it can get. So we have to take an interest in who your neighbors are. They don't have to become your friends. It doesn't have to be mulomo. Like, where I live is flats and everyone just minds their own business. But we know who's surrounding us. We know who's part of our community. But we're not in each other's business. We don't hang out. We're all minding our own business. But we just have an idea of who lives where. And also know the routine of the people who live around you, so that if anything's out of the ordinary, you'll pick it up. I remember one time I came home early and from work, and that period my landlord was actually around, and he didn't see me coming, but he knew our routine. He had an idea of our routine. These guys leave home this time, they come back this time. And all of a sudden he hit the lock on my door, like someone trying to open my door, and he came. And then he goes, oh, it's you. I got worried. I heard someone trying to open your door, and I was wondering if someone was trying to break in. And that made me feel like, wow. I'm like, that's nice. So when I'm not around, somebody, like, they know my routine. If anything out of the ordinary happens in my house, they'll be like, what's going on there? You know? So I encourage everyone to just take an interest in your neighbors. You don't have to be friends. Most likely, your neighbor doesn't even want to be a friend as well. But just be friendly with them. Say hi. Have an idea of how many people live there. Have an idea of what they do. Like, those are important things that you should do. Not because you want to be nosy, but for your own safety. Because you'll be having kidnappers and murderers as your neighbors, and you won't even have an idea. You'll have people being buried next to you in their backyards, and you have no idea. That's not right. So let's change this culture, this thing we're trying to be modern. I don't want to know who my neighbors are. No, you're risking your own life, and it's just sad. It's really sad. I had a friend who lived on flats as well, right here in Osaka, and the guy, their neighbor, it was like flats. It's so sad. I don't even know why I'm laughing. This person died, and they didn't know. The person started smelling, and they didn't know. They had no idea. Everyone drove past his flat for a week and they had no idea the person had died. And they just noticed flies, the smell was horrible, and now the caretaker was looking, where's the smell? They removed the bins, they cleaned the place. No, the smell isn't going, it's getting worse. Only to realize there was a dead body there. Imagine living flats, not big flats like semi-detached flats, and your neighbor is dead for days and you haven't noticed. Why? Because you have no idea they're like. Our sense of community is dying away. We don't have to be in each other's business, but we can just be familiar. We can have this sense of community and just have an idea of what's happening in our community. We need to take care of each other, and it's something that is important. So I encourage you to know your neighbors. Be friendly. Have an idea of who lives in your neighborhood. Have an idea of what they do. Have an idea of what the routine is in your community, so that if you see anything is off, anything isn't making sense, your senses will be alerted, like, okay, that is strange, that doesn't look normal to me, maybe I should look into that, maybe, like, have an idea, have that sense. So that is it for me. I hope this hits home for someone. I hope if you don't know your neighbors, if you're not friendly with your neighbors, just please do better. Like, seriously do better. In my head as I talk, I even have someone I'm thinking of. I won't go into it, but I have someone I'm thinking of. Anyway, so just do better, please. Have an idea of who your neighbors are. Say hi. It won't kill you. Be friendly. They don't have to be your friends. Trust me, they don't even want to be your friends. But you don't lose anything by being friendly with people. You know, by being familiar with your community, by protecting your surrounding. That's your responsibility. So that is it for me. Till next week, please take care of yourselves, get to know your neighbors, get to be familiar with your community, get to know what is the normal in your community, so that you'll be able to notice if anything is out of the ordinary. Till next week, take care. I love you all. Bye bye.